What is up, producers? 12.1 just dropped today for the public, and there's some absolutely insane updates that I haven't seen anybody talk about. A couple of secret functions that they toss in there that are super beneficial and super cool. Before we hop in, a couple quick announcements for you guys. One, I just dropped a complete entire bass music production course. It's 77 modules and over 17 hours of learning to produce music. And if you buy it in the next couple of days, you're actually gonna get half off Ableton, as well as half off most of the top plugin brands. So super cool deal I've put together. Also, I just dropped a monthly care package system that's totally free. Basically, you sign up and every month I send you guys completely free samples, free Ableton devices, super cool. So those will be linked in the description if you're interested. Let's hop into the video. One really cool accessibility feature they've added is being able to both add breakpoints and adjust them with your arrows, all from your keypad. So if we're adjusting our automation lane, if we press enter, we can now use our left and right and up and down arrows to adjust the automation, or we can just enter a number. So I can enter 10, hit enter. Also, if we hit the down arrow from anywhere selected on a track, it's gonna take us down to the next track, which is cool. So now we can easily just arrow down and see either our MIDI or audio editors or our effects for each track. One really cool new MIDI setting they've added is called Find and Select. This is basically a way for you to filter through a MIDI clip and select only certain notes that fit a certain criteria. The way we're gonna activate this is by coming up and pressing this magnifying glass. And now let's say we wanna select notes that are in D, take place in our first 4 measures, and meet a number of other criteria as well. So if we want to edit these in a certain way or adjust where the notes are, we can quickly come in here and find them based on whatever we search. So that's a pretty neat little setting. One of the new features that I'm personally most excited about is the undo history feature. If we hit Option Command Z on Mac, we can now scroll through and view all of our changes. So if we want to undo to a certain level, we can scroll down and find that section. Let's go to maybe change mix, select this. Now it's gonna take us all the way back to that step. We can also move forward. So if we go too far back, we can come in here and select our most current point, and it'll take us back to where we were working at before. The Glissando MIDI tool is another really cool MIDI setting we have that basically allows us to tie successive notes together. So we're gonna navigate over to our MPE tab, select the notes we wanna apply this to, and then hit transform. So you'll notice we have these little curved lines right here. Now we can adjust the curve or the starting point. Another cool MIDI setting we have is time warp, which basically allows us to adjust the length of them without separating them. While we're on the topic of MIDI, we also have an LFO MIDI tool, which sounds very unique, and it is. Again, this is going to be on the MPE tab, and we can actually use an LFO to affect different aspects of our MIDI. Very cool to see Ableton pushing the boundaries with MIDI as they are, especially with MPE stuff. Another cool feature that's coming to us that I haven't seen anybody touch on is scale awareness for audio clips. So if we have an audio clip selected, we have our normal settings. However, down here, you'll notice it says scale. So this doesn't actually affect the audio clip at all. It actually applies to all the different audio effects that have scale awareness that's on that audio clip. So if there's any audio effects that could potentially change the pitch or add harmonics to your sound, it's gonna lock all those into the scale we determine on our audio clip. Another cool new feature they've implemented is automatic grooves. So if we have a groove selected in our groove pool, so let's come down here and grab a groove. If we have this little icon selected down here, this is gonna automatically apply this groove to any new MIDI clips we create. Another really exciting feature is Autotags. So with Ableton 12 came the tagging feature, which basically allows us to categorize and tag all of our samples or our plugins or devices. Now it has a feature that automatically tags them for us. So this little eye icon up here, if we click this, it's now going to show us all of the things that Ableton auto-tagged for us. While we're on the topic of auto-tagging, Ableton actually implemented an auto-tagging feature on all VST plugins based on the metadata of the plugin. So if we come down here to our plugins and I select something like piano and keys, it had automatically tagged this Arturia Whirly V2 as a piano and key, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty hyped on this. So we can do things like click on distortion. It's going to show us distortion units. Now this feature is in beta, so it's not super accurate, I found, but it's very exciting that they're starting to implement stuff like this. We also have nested tags. So basically what that means is it gives us drop downs if we want to add additional subcategories for things. The envelope follower now has a sidechain option that allows us to input a signal from a different track. So on our envelope follower, we now have this little tab here that allows us to open for sidechain inputs, and we can select a different audio track. So I'm going to select my drum loop here. Let's map this to our volume. So now we have the gain of our vocal chop being automated by the signal of the drum loop. So a lot of cool possibilities for layering here, or kind of getting things to work with each other. An update that I'm personally super excited about is Drum Sampler. It's a sampler made specifically for drums and processing them. Historically, I've always been an audio guy with my drums. I find that you have more flexibility in manipulating them. However, with some of these MIDI updates and MIDI devices like the Drum Sampler, it's almost getting to a point where you can accomplish all those things just within MIDI. So we have a couple options here: attack, hold, and decay. Basically to shape your transient. We can transpose them, detune them. Things start to get really interesting when we move into this effects section over here. We have numerous different effects. They're all super unique. So a lot of cool effects and flexibility to automate this and kind of keep your drums interesting. Then we have an auto filter essentially baked in. This is probably going to be handy when we're dealing with like top end elements or a snare, and we just want to chop all those lows out. We can do this right here with Drum Sampler. Then we have some basic options at the end: volume, panning, velocity. I think this is really cool because you can use attack, hold, and decay and automate them. I think this is a really cool feature because now instead of manually going in and adjusting the length and the attack of your drums to kind of give them variety, you can automate some of these controls in here to do this and still have MIDI. So I think that's pretty neat. Another one that we've actually been looking at this whole time that I wanted to touch on is the full-length browser. So notice over here now our browser takes up the entire section all the way down and takes up historically where some of the audio effects and lower menu. I think this is pretty handy. A lot of times you don't need all this space, and so being able to fully extend your browser allows you to see a little bit more of what you're searching for. So I'm pretty happy with this one as well. You can also now edit your collections, your library, and your places. So for instance, I don't really use Ableton stock instruments that much, so why not get them out of the way so you don't have to look through them every time I'm searching my browser? We can actually just click edit up here and then uncheck anything we don't want to see. It's still going to be available. We just don't have to look at it on our browser section every time we open it. And if we want to exit out of the full height browser, we can just click on this orange box up here and select full length browser. We can also open up a groove pool and our tuning right here as well. So that's really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more coming, a lot of really exciting MIDI stuff, a lot of audio effects. I'm very excited to see what everybody does with all these new toys. Let me know what you're going to do in the comments. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
More.